just click off if you're here for gimmicks or trick shots. Otherwise, let's talk about starting now and what I believe to be the truest of whys. Because I believe I am here and meant to share with you on this day in space and time the reason to start now, because I am like you and no different. And by starting now, I have learned to become obsessed with myself. Narcissistic, right? But here's the truth to that. I think you should be too, starting now. And the only logic I need to begin with is something we already know, truly and deeply in the essence of our souls, but seem to run away from. Until, of course, the inevitable occurs. The inevitable occurs, and that is that there is no tomorrow. So this video will be about emphasizing and prioritizing starting now, because this is about fate more than it is your perceived destiny. So just start and shoot your shot. And most know why we don't start. So let's begin there, as that is the easiest of reminders we need in order to reason and rationalize this self. And let me ask, simply and plain, where are you right now? That seems to be the first question and truth that we allow ourselves to escape from. And I know what you're saying right now. I know what you're thinking. I know what's going through that wonderful brain of yours. Jeff, I would. I really, really would, but there's just no time. Yeah, you're absolutely right. This is why I started this way, and we went over that. There is no time. So in all truth, what are you really waiting for? For the obsession you need, which I started with, and that will breathe life into your one experience on this soil, is that you are on the clock. And you haven't started because you don't have time, but you're on the clock. And now because you've convinced yourself that you don't have the time that allows you to escape from the fear, which all of us feel, that permeates and certainly overflows your cup. Fear that feeds off your insecurities from past failures that prove or have proven you're just not enough. A past that has already passed, but somehow masks the future you can no longer see. So, you don't have time because you cannot see. You cannot see because you've stopped moving. And in order to see again, you must start now. And now that we agree, what does it mean for you to start now? What can I share with you about starting now that could or would possibly convince you? Firstly, it is the hardest thing you are likely to do in life. Very convincing, right? Because starting now implies, as we just went over, that you see something for yourself, something you don't have, something you really want and maybe even have pursued before, but it didn't quite work out. And so now, depending on what you see it because not only do you know and secretly believe it's possible, I think I can, but there is already likely a path outlined for you to walk in order for you to get to the end state of where you want to be, which will be defined as a goal. And Captain Obvious here, that goal, that journey, that requires you to take steps. And depending on where you are in your life, there's a shit ton of steps and work to do. So start now, my friends. You don't have time. Now, if you're like me, in your midlife crisis stage, your 40s, there's a big mess on aisle 4, and the cleanup is going to take some time. A lot of messy mess. Boy, that hurts in all the right places. If you are younger, maybe in your Superman or Superwoman early 20s, believe you can just muscle everything. Or maybe you've read a few books, got a degree, so somehow you are now entitled to the life you see because that is just somehow what you believe. Then, newsflash, you have scars and stripes. Yes, scars and stripes left to be burned in you as experience earns the wisdom you crave for the success you see. So start now, because there's a lot of steps to take. And the only way to take a step, at least in the forward direction, is to move your ass. But here is why starting now is a massive win and the best thing you could do for yourself. But also, and quite ironically, aligns with the first failure point. Pretty crazy. And maybe, possibly a place you visited a few times already. You ever start something? You ever like, I'm going to do this? How do you feel whenever you start something? What was it? Fitness journey? New career, education path, a hobby or destiny you feel is right for you? What does that do for you? Starting now is exciting. You feel more focused. You feel more disciplined. You feel more organized. It is engaging. It is life. The true beauty of life because you are activated and in creative mode. And being activated, can you feel it? Jacked up, ready to go. All this creativity and the initial steps you need to take this when you are activated, what does that build? That builds confidence, belief, and faith. Kind of need those things. And then, as I said, you will hit a wall and fail. And it generally happens quite early in the process because the rush of dopamine and the feel-good reward pleasure systems around the motivation, inspiration, and the hype you feel, that wears off. Because imagine being high all of your life. I'm just high all the time. It's not possible, literally, on any of the human biology, psychology, spirituality, that whole life experience thing we got going. Can't do it. Can't be high all the time. I've tried. So this means your confidence, faith, and belief will be shaken, which is another way of saying you're being tested, challenged, and called into question. And that's okay too. Because starting now should come with the acceptance, as we already have and clearly discovered, that there's this whole path thing we have to experience. And if it's a path, therefore that implies a journey. And if it's a journey and a path, that therefore implies obstacles. Otherwise, how would you get to the other side? But not starting and not doing anything or doing nothing equates to the language definition of inertia. And if you've made it this far, you already agree you don't have time for that. And that just leaves you where you are today. And since there is possibly no tomorrow, start now. So why else, Jeff? Why else should you and we and I start now? Here's what I believe. There is a version of you that even as you see out into the future and as you dream and imagine is so much more than you could even possibly realize. Because starting now equates to the ultimate journey of truth. And there is an emotional truth that you should discover if you haven't already. There's a physical truth to you that you should discover if you haven't already. There's a spiritual truth to you that you should discover if you haven't already. Deeper than the path and the journey and the material. And these truths are only realized when you chase something. So what's the final truth I have for you to start now? You start now because you don't have what it takes and you are not good enough right now. And when you start and go, gain and make some small wins, you still will never feel good enough. Because as you acquire skills, it opens you up to how much more sacrifice it takes and how much better you can actually be. You start now because it's so fucking scary and you're not strong enough. And as you gain strength through experience and falling and scratching and crawling and clawing, you realize there's so much more strength that comes from your fear of weakness. You start now because you'll never have enough information. Nor will you ever feel you are smart enough because as you gain knowledge and wisdom, you learn there is so much more to know. And once you come to terms with this truth journey, you not just accept the challenge, but you can become obsessed with accepting yourself and your life, and you will push the boundaries and limits that surround you. Start now, because one day, Tomorrow won't come for you. Change your mind, change your life. I am who I say I am. Start now, stay rich.